Hello, it's Dr. Stephanie, your favorite life coach and physician. And I just want to share a message that I have for my sons. And I don't know if you all have seen this video from Viola Davis, where she has this amazing message for her daughters. And I listened to this message and I thought to myself, wow, I want to send a message like that to my sons. And I thought about sending that message to them, but it seemed like it might have been too female coded and they might not have gotten the essence of it. So I said, Stephanie, you need to create your own message for your son because this message is too important. And as I was creating this message for my son, I realized it's not just for them. It's also for me and it's also for you. So I wanted to share it with you because I think we all need this message. And the message is, you are the love of your life. I am the love of my life. And if I have not been fully embracing and walking in that up to now, now is the time to do it. So as Viola was sharing with her daughter, she was just sharing with her that the greatest love you can ever have in your lifetime, human love, is with yourself. And so many of us didn't get this message. I know I didn't get this message as a child. No one ever told me that I should be the love of my own life. I was looking for that love outside of myself, in my friendships, in my relationships, even in my children. But now I have come to realize that I am the greatest love of my life. And if I don't like the way that love feels, then I have the power to change it. So this is the message that I want to tell my sons. I want to tell them that you are the love of your life. Make sure that you invest in loving yourself more than you invest in loving anybody else. Make sure you learn yourself what brings you joy, what makes you happy, what makes you feel uncomfortable. Learn to listen to that inner voice. There's an inner voice there that we sometimes push down, we ignore, or we just can't hear because the world is so noisy. Take the time to learn to hear your own inner voice. And that probably is going to require you getting pretty quiet, which is hard to do in a noisy world. But get quiet so you can hear your own inner voice. Pay attention to your friendships as they come in and out of your life, as they will do. Pay attention to what feels good and what doesn't feel good. Be okay with saying no. Learn how to set those boundaries so that you're not letting anything into your life that takes you from being the center and the love of your life. Don't make yourself small in order to make room for someone else to come into your life. If you have to be small in order for them to fit, then they're not meant to be there. Be loud. Take up space and figure out what it means to be your greatest love of all now, while you're young, while you have the energy and the time to explore. So that's my message to my sons, but it's also my message to you and to myself. I was listening to this podcast. I don't know if any of you have ever seen the show Severance. Well, it's a great show, and it's taken 3 years for the second season to be released, so I can't wait to watch the second season. But the premise behind the show is that individuals decide to sever their brains so that they don't have to experience pain and hurt that they're living with. And so their severed selves go to work every day in this, this lumen factory, and they have no knowledge of their outside selves. And on the podcast I was listening to, they were talking about one of the guests was saying, and this is a very successful person, he's a director, he's an actor. He was talking about how it kind of makes sense that you would send your severed self into a place that's miserable, to experience misery. Because the things that we wouldn't do to other people, we would never put anyone else in that situation to be miserable. We're okay with doing to ourselves. He said, yeah, I send myself into this place of misery and I'm suffering, and that's okay. Maybe I deserve to suffer. I'm okay with punishing myself, but I'm not okay with punishing other people. And too many of us have operated from that standpoint, whether consciously or unconsciously, that we're okay with punishing ourselves. We're okay with us suffering. We would never punish another person the way we punish ourselves, whether that's with guilt and shame that we hold on to, where we continue to blame ourselves over and over for things that are in the past, whether that's with staying in a situation that is uncomfortable and painful. I have a client who is experiencing physical, emotional, and mental pain in her current job. She's absolutely miserable. It's affecting her personal life. It's affecting her relationships with her family. She is constantly on edge. Her anxiety is through the roof. But there's several reasons why she won't make a change. One is she's afraid of the unknown, and she's afraid that the pain of the unknown will be greater than the pain that she's in. And the second thing is she's been suffering from physical and mental pain for so long that it's nothing. She's used to it. That's her status quo. She is used to accepting the fact that she's going to be in pain and not doing anything about it. And many of us, it may not be to the extent that she is. She was in so much pain at one point that she was in the hospital with a diagnosis that nobody could figure out for weeks. This is the type of pain that she was in. And she has come to accept that for herself. Well, I'm here to say that we get one life to live, and you are the greatest love of your life. And we can choose to not suffer and not put ourselves through unnecessary suffering. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is a choice. We can choose to be madly in love with ourselves. And I know for some people that's going to sound very selfish. But why? Why do we assume that it's selfish to be the love of our own lives, to be madly in love with ourselves, to invest in ourselves, to buy ourselves the things that we want, to experience life on our own terms, to not allow toxicity into our lives? Why? I believe that we were put on this earth to experience love. And for those of us who believe in a higher power, the greatest love can come from that highest power. But the other greatest love of your life can come from yourself. So as society is suffering through an epidemic of loneliness and isolation, of course we need community. Of course we need other people. But we also need to learn to be the greatest love of our lives and to radically love ourselves. So this month, I'm going to talk about what that could look like for you, what that can look like for me, and how we can just get better and better at it, right? How we can fall more deeply and radically in love with ourselves. So I look forward to sharing that this month, and I'll talk to you next time.